Now, in light of yesterday's shooting in Pennsylvania, we are also reminded of another terrible recent act of political violence. On January 8th, 2011, Arizona Congresswoman Gabby Giffords was attending a constituent event outside of a grocery store in a shopping center northwest of Tucson. A man ran up to the crowd. He opened fire with a 33-round magazine. He shot 19 people, including Congresswoman Giffords. 6 people died. Giffords' intern, Daniel Hernandez, Jr., provided first aid and is credited with helping save the Congresswoman's life. Following a very long recovery, Gabby Giffords resigned from Congress the following year. She went on to become an advocate for anti-gun violence causes, and so did her former intern. Hernandez went on to serve as an Arizona state representative from 2017 to 2023 and still fights for gun safety to this day. And joining us now is Daniel Hernandez, Jr., a gun violence survivor, former Democratic state representative in Arizona, and a hero to former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, and certainly Mark Kelly, the retired astronaut and military veteran, who also is now a senator, of course, is Gabby Giffords' husband. Your former boss, Gabby Giffords, posted on X last night, Daniel, that political violence is terrifying. I know I'm holding former President Trump and all those affected by today's indefensible act of violence in my heart. Political violence is un-American and it is never acceptable, never. And I can hear her voice. I've interviewed her so many times, and her heroism and yours. So just what was your reaction last night when you saw really a very close call for the former president?
Well, thank you so much, Andrea. I hate to be back on for yet another shooting, but here's the reality in America. We have a uniquely American problem where gun violence is something that happens all too regularly. But the other newer American problem that we're seeing is political violence. You know, when I saw the video of what was happening with President Trump yesterday in Pennsylvania, it immediately brought me back to 13 years ago in Tucson, January 8th of 2011. I could smell the smoke. I could hear the chaos and I could hear the voices. So immediately brought me back to 13 years ago. And I think here's the reality. We are seeing a situation where our politics has gotten so toxic that it's not just about going after ideas. It's about destroying the other side. And we've seen this ratcheting up constantly of going after other folks. I actually wrote an op-ed on Friday before this even happened, condemning the violence and the threats of violence against our election workers here in Arizona as a part of the Democracy Defense Project. So even on Friday, I was writing an op-ed about how political violence has no place in our American politics. And yet a day later, we saw an attempted assassination against former President Trump. And I'm so sad for the person who was murdered yesterday and those who were injured and those who will be traumatized for the rest of their life. You know, it's been 13 years for me, and yet I can still vividly smell, hear, and feel what happens every time there's a shooting. And it brings me immediately back to what happened January 8th.
Daniel Hernandez, thank you so very much. And we know